out later. You see this ceramic work on the pillars. These are the stations of the cross. Remember, we walked the station. And every Catholic church, right, would have those. So we.
Every Catholic church.
It's all starting from, if you want to sort of prepare yourself for the test that you have to take at the end of the tour, you can sort of follow the stations of the sins, and a big fish takes him in. He's in the fish for 3 days. And then coming back to life, he goes to fulfill his mission. So he was dead for 3 days and then came back to life. So again, it's there are parallels here, either to Jesus or to Lazarus maybe. Many, as we said, many of the New Testament stairs on the left side. So yeah, right, and you know, very small village. They knew each other very well. So it's again one of these places that Jesus visited. So it was a lot of excitement there.
They still let them complete?
So it's it's a construction zone now, but in this case they didn't just erase it they kept it, they amended the building plans, and it's now built. Space. You saw the staircase climbing up, so it makes sense that it was like the basement or of the home, because the stairs were coming up. So there was something built on top, and the basement was down there, and that's what survived. From the same miracles that he was doing elsewhere in the Galilee,
Nazareth,
in his hometown, and he refuses. He says there's no prophet in his hometown, and they're so upset they are taking him to the edge of the cliff to throw him down and stone him, and he just walks through them. There is a site here in Nazareth, right over the Jezreel Valley, where he walked between them and stepped out of the city, and then he moves out to Capernaum, this village on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. This is how we get the hot water like 90% of the time. There is an electricity backup for cloudy days, but to the most part it's what provides the hot water for the homes here year-round, and it's something that started back in the 50s. It's not something new. This is the entrance to the tunnels here. It cuts through the mountain all the way. It's about a mile long. And we're going to do this drive from the lower areas by the port all the way to the top of the mountain.
Haifa.
And there was a big war, fighting going on between the people who founded the Technion about the language that is going to be used. It's only, you know, the very beginning of the reviving of the Jewish language, of the Hebrew language, after 2000, not very old, but a few hundred years old from the Ottoman era. Mosques, and there are some churches here on the lower parts of the city.
Haifa port.
Although that's religious.
Nothing to do with it. It's very different. We talked about it on the bus.
It's a big in the U.S. Big in the U.S.
We have friends.
Big in the U.S.?
Yeah, very big.
Nothing to do with it.
Haifa down there. Port of Haifa, Israel.
So we'll be driving down now to on the other side of the mountain to the shoreline on the southern end, and we're going to drive along the shores of the Mediterranean Sea south towards Tel Aviv till the city of Caesarea, where we're going to have our next stop. The port of Haifa is now the second largest port of Israel. The largest port is south of Tel Aviv in a town called Ashdod, where most of the trade is export and import is going through the port of Ashdod. Some of it still from here. Today the Haifa port is also being used by the Jordanians. We mentioned this, that they don't have access to the...
We're leaving Haifa.
Well, most people work Sunday till Thursday, and for most people Friday is like an errands day. It's an off day. Not for all. Schools are working on Friday. There's some teachers are working, and others.
Mediterranean Sea.
But most businesses are closed on Saturday. The current brings all the sand to the shores of Israel from the delta of the Nile.
Oh, really?
And
It's an import.
Import. That's funny.
And ever since they built the Aswan Dam, we have a shortage of new sands being driven into the shores of Israel. But all this current has been there for thousands of years. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but the opening of the port of Haifa is pointing to the north. The one of Caesarea will be to the north. The one of Jaffa will be to the north. They always build, in ancient times and in contemporary times, they build the openings to the ports along this shoreline away from... Really do you nasty things from up there. And if you can, we're able to break your way in. And you have some fruits from the... these are not edible. You have this. So this would wake up in few... You see they're coming up here? In a few weeks' time, it would be all green.
Fig tree.
They cleared the mosque and built another church. And all those were found. The foundations of all those were found. And after the Crusaders were kicked out of here, this place was in ruins. Actually, it was abandoned from a few hundred years until the first part of the 20th century. Bosnian community back 120, 130 years ago, they had problems with their Christian neighbors, and the Ottomans allowed them to come over here, and this was a Bosnian village that was out here till the like 30s, 40s of the 20th century. And this is a Bosnian minaret.
Caesarea.
Dust and moisture is not going to get dirty. If you wanted to, maybe once a year you could run over with a vacuum cleaner without the wheels. and it would always be clean. This is a technique that we invented here called soft art. It was invented back in the 80s by a man named Kalman Shemi, very famous Israeli painter. Not working this technique anymore. It's a very physical technique. As you can see from that, we do work just like this, standing up with one arm. So there's a lot of work involved in these paintings. They take anywhere between 2 days to 2 months to create, depending on the size and the complexity of the piece itself. We are now 5 artists working this technique. We are the only ones in the world working this technique here in Israel.
Later on, out there, actually there are 2 theaters in Caesarea. One is at the inside the kibbutz today. There's next door, there's the kibbutz, and one of the amphitheaters is there. The other one would be the hippodrome. Hippos is the horse, and the hippodrome is for horse racing, mostly chariot, with very exciting sort of, the start one would be all the way in the other end. You see it here? The spine, the central, you still see it. And they typically would circle 7 times. And these are the best seats because this is where they turning